Well, hi there. Time for Paint and Porcelain Exchange. We're going to actually design our own mugs, and you can use a template for this or you can design it yourself. It's entirely up to you. If you got the line drawing, I sent out the line drawing. You should probably spend some time cutting it up into little pieces so that you can arrange it on your mug or your glass or whatever you're going to be painting on, plate or what have you. And then we'll talk a little bit about design. But I think you can do more than you think you can do when it comes to, putting your flowers on your piece and things like that and coming up with something that's not just a study. You shouldn't have to always refer to a study. So that's what's in store. This is what I'm working on right now. It's a little tiny vase with all kinds of thistle on it. And I've got two fires on this. I love the colors on this. I think I'm gonna eventually put a little gold at the top and maybe some little like shadow leaves behind it with more of a gray-green or something. But I don't think I'm gonna put a background on it. And then down here at the bottom, I'm not really sure what I want to do there either. So I'm kind of still working on, this is a vase, but I asked you to get a cup so that we could work on a cup or a vase if you have it. So this is what I did. Took my tracing paper, dark on the front, light on the back. The dark side needs to face the cup. See, right there. And what I did was I taped it. So I cut it to fit around the cup and I taped it under here where the handle is so that I can draw on this and it will trace through. And what I did next was this. I cut out all my little pieces from the study I gave you. It wasn't really a study per se or a line drawing per se. It was sort of a crutch to help you get started with trying to design your own piece. And now I'm going to put you down and show you how I did this. And one of the reasons I drew these for you was because I didn't know how many people know what thistles are. One thing I've learned from having an international audience is that not everybody knows the flowers that are common in the United States. I wanted to make sure that you had a clear picture of what a thistle was. Now, I'm right-handed. Most people are right-handed. You have to decide who you're painting this for, or assume that most people that you buy it for are right-handed. However, if you don't want to leave out the left-handed people, a good way to do your design is to do it all the way around, okay? Because then that way nobody feels shorted. So I'm going to put it up here the way I want it, and I'm going to go through I've got some tape. I've got these cut out, and I put a little bit of tape on each one of them. And I'm going to start and try to figure out exactly how I want this to look. Do I want there to be one under here like this? I don't think I do, because that would be very difficult to paint. You'd have the thing in your way all the time. So I think I'm going to start with maybe something like this and put it maybe right there, okay? That's one piece. And then I'm going to take this little thistle, this little bud, and I might put it up on the top of it like that, so that I have a thistle and a bud. And then I might want to put a bigger thistle coming up back here. See what I've got going there? I've got that going, and I've got that coming out of there. I like a pattern where they kind of spring from the bottom of the cup, but that's just me. It doesn't have to be you. And then maybe I'm going to put another one, say another leaf maybe right here. Then I'm just going to go all the way around and decide where I want my leaves and where I want my thistle. And I'm going to tape them down and I will draw them in. You can also do some on one side and less on the other. A lot of people do that when they're painting. They don't put as much on the second side as they do on the first. Let me get this one here. I guess that's the guy I like. So you might have a lot here and then just a little over here, or you might connect them. And then once you get it drawn on, I'm going to use a fine point pen to just draw this on. Don't forget the little spiky things, the little leaves. You take off your tape, and it's going to be so pale you're going to hardly be able to see it. And that's when I either use, now you can use your black pencil and go over it, and it'll be fine, but as you paint, your black pencil, if you need to wipe it off, your black pencil is going to wipe off with everything else. So if you're a beginner and you're using my templates for this kind of thing, use a red marker. This is a Sharpie red marker. And you can go through and you can just go through and do the other. Thistle leaves are really easy. They're like dandelion leaves. You're just gonna go, they're kind of like holly leaves. You start with the point, you go out, out, way down maybe, out a little, out, and then down to a point. Then you come up here, and they can be real angular with a couple little bumps and things, and you should be able to draw those without a problem and create your own. The other thing is the thistle itself you should be able to draw. It's a vase shaped if it's a bud, like that, with the little stem coming down, and then there's a thistle up here at the top. As it gets bigger, that vase shape turns into more of a cup shape, and you're going to have a few coming out this way, and then you're going to have a couple coming out this way, and the base coming down. On your mug, you can design a couple of ways. So you can design, you can put a lot of stuff here and a little here. You can put it so that it goes all the way around and just goes up and down. So you could have a thistle here, a leaf here, coming out, and then you could have a thistle coming out that way. What you want to do is give them a graceful curve if you can. That will help you as far as making things look a little more natural. Then you might have a leaf that comes here. They tend to have one vein down the middle on these, and like a vein here and a vein here, but they don't have them all the way up that are real prominent. Or you can do the effect where you have one tall one, one short one, another tall one, and you've got three there, and they look really nice. Can you see what I've done? Oops, let me get this guy off. And then you put your line through the middle just to give you an idea of which direction they're going. I find when I'm drawing leaves, I like to draw the line first, whatever direction I've got the line going, and then I draw the leaf around it. Put them together and make yourself a nice little mug. I think it might be easier just to cut it out, the right thing, and then arrange them in front of you like this even. Let me bring you down a little more there, see? If I arrange it here, sometimes that's even easier, because then I know what I'm getting, and you could put one under another, or behind another, like this. And this is your whole mug here, so you know these are going to go around the whole mug. And maybe I want one here with a little bit of a leaf behind him. And then you put it around your mug, and then you just trace it on. If for some reason none of these things appeal to you, remember you can always do a tile. And you could just do this much right here, this little first part on a tile. And that would work out really well. And you could put some cork on the back and you'd have a coaster. So Tonight, we're going to work on our thistles, and I'm really excited about the thistles because this is the one that you were supposed to come up with your own design on your own piece of china. So I went out in my backyard and I picked a thistle for those of you that are not in the area, so that you could see what my thistles look like. And I found some interesting things that hold true though with most of the thistles. For instance, if you look at this leaf here, let me get really close to this one here. Can you see how it wraps almost halfway around the stem at the base? Isn't that interesting? I didn't know that they did that. And that was really an eye-opener to me. The other thing is, they're very much like a holly leaf in a lot of ways. The other thing is, the flip side of this leaf is silver. Silver, gray. So this side is green, this side is gray or a silver. So if you're going to be painting them, you're going to want to make sure that you have the flip side as the lighter side. I did work on my thistle vase that I originally started, and I finished it. I thought, and now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking I might want one more coat on it. I have to put the gold across the top. I put the yellow brown down, but I'm going to put the gold on. And I'm going to turn it slowly. See my shadow leaves? First of all, notice it goes all the way around my vase. That's the back of it. Those are the only two spots I don't have anything. When we talk about movement, you want it to move across the piece, around the piece, whatever you're working on. But you don't want it to like be obnoxious. So here are my shadow leaves with my leaves there. There's one of my thistles. Here's another thistle. And here you can see I have thistles facing different directions. Up at the top I have some shadow thistles. And I also have a short leaf and then a longer leaf right here. So you vary the sizes, you vary the directions, and you vary the way that the leaves are as far as size and direction as well. And then with buds, you have some buds, you have some that are open. And that's how you really get a lot of variety and good design in your piece. So I'm working on a tankard today, and I decided instead of my vase where I have the thistles all around, I'm doing like 3 different vignettes on here. So I've got this one, and I've got this one with a larger, more open, and then this one. And I drew it on with pencil only because the leaves in particular, I really need to be able to see where the edges are. And if I did it with the, I found if I did it with the Sharpie, that I really had a hard time telling where my paint ended. Colors. I'm going to use a warm brown green, and I'm going to be using a shading green and a turquoise of some sort. Now this can be, mine is Tahiti, which is a Apollo white color, but you could use blue-green, and I think you could get a very similar color. This is berry. I think if you don't have berry, you could use rose. You could use a rose of some sort, or I'm trying to think what that other color is. The real deep color that I don't use very often, and I can't think offhand. But anyway, you could use rose. You can use cobalt. And then the other color I have here is a gray. Now this is ashes of roses, and that's what I did my shadow leaves and my shadow flowers in. But any gray will do. I think a darker gray though, if you want them to show up, because it is hard to get them to show. So this is what I'm going to be painting on, and let me try to get it into focus. I'm going to paint on this side because I think this will show you the most. So I'm going to start, I think, with the leaves. The leaves, like I said, you can see here, I kind of made it sort of wrap around the stems there. They alternate too. There's one and then another and then another and then another all the way down the stem. So I'm going to start with my leaves because my leaves I think were the best place to start. And then I'm going to go up and do these little guys. I'm not going to do my shadow leaves at this time because I think the one thing that if I do the shadow leaves now, it may cause problems. It's better to do it on the second fire. Okay, I'm going to start with warm brown green, full load. So this is for those of you that are new. This is a full load. You put it on like this. And I'm using, this is a 1/4 inch brush. And the side load is you take the full load with the paint on it and you just kind of gently edge it into, in this case, shading green. And what you'll get is something that looks a little bit like this. See? And I don't know if you could tell on there, but it's darker on the left than on the right. So, okay, I'm going to do that here. Alrighty. I'm going to hold this so that it hopefully doesn't get that. It's going to have a little bit of that on there, and if you can paint these, you can paint holly leaves. So I'm going to start with this guy because he's in the right position for me. I'm going to do the base. I'm going to come up as close as I can to you. Okay. And I'm going to pull it out to the edge. Now, I'm going to go around the edge with the darker color leading and pull that little, see, I'm pulling that little point forward. You're going to have to load your brush a little more often when you do this because of this. Go around the edge here and bring it out. And finally, I'm going to go around the edge and bring it down. Oops, hang on, didn't get enough there. I think I probably need a little more oil. This is kind of an awkward way to have to hold this, but I think it'll work. There, bring it down. Then I'm going to flip it completely over. Now let me think. I have to think about this. I want this to go this way. Yeah, so if you're right-handed or left-handed, it's harder on one side than it is on the other side. So I would start like this at the base and come forward, but you want these to come out like that. And you want it to come out like that. Okay? Then you're going to take and you're going to gently pull the color to the edge. Even it out a little, pull it to the edge. Going to flip it around, do the same thing on the other side. Even it out a little, pull it to the edge. This is only the first fire. You can add more depth on the next fire, but you've got to get a little bit of light down the middle. Here's the leaf. Down the center is a very light line, but it only goes about, I'd say, halfway down, and then it stops. And as far as cross veins, you really don't see any on this flower. So, I mean, on this leaf. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. So make sure your center is wiped out enough that you have the ability then to go back with maybe a Paintnporcelain and just very gently do it down the middle, just so you have that little bit of look there. Do the same thing on this leaf here, this little leaf up at the top. Now you can use, let me show you, the leaf itself, the colors are fairly dark. That's the reason I went with the yellow brown and the green that I did. But you could use a chartreuse. But I personally didn't care for the way it came out. I did it on the first one I did. Let me see if it shows up on that cup. See, I did it on here. And it just came out like way too light. So I prefer to do these colors, but you can do whatever colors you want. This is yours. Okay? So, so I'm going to turn this around again. I'm going to get a good handle on it because I like to start down here. And I'm going to add some color at the base, right? And then I'm going to turn it so that I can pull those out with the corner of my brush like that. And as it gets smaller, it's a little harder with this brush. That's why I started with a small brush. Then you flip it around, oops, and you do the same thing on this side, there and there. Okay, and then I wipe it off, and I'm going to take and I'm going to pull a little bit of this to the edge here, gently, and a little bit of this to the edge here. And I'm also going to wipe it off again and give myself a little bit of white down the middle. Get one of my Paintnporcelains and make a little white line down the middle like that. Not all the way, just part of the way. Hard, huh? Okay, we've got 2 more leaves to do. I'm going to do this one next because it's larger. And this is another reason I like the pencil. You can take your thumb, you can erase it. Where did I put the pencil? Here. And you can go back. See, so I erased that there. Now you can go back and you can make it like this if you want. So it's a little bit bigger than the others. I'm going back to the bottom base because I want it to just touch. Ooh, I should have done this one a little better here. There. I want it to just come in and touch that stem because you know it goes around that stem. And you just have to tease it out and get that point on it. How am I doing? You can see? Good. And tease it out, get that point on it there. I want a little more point there. And a little more point there. The end of it, the end of the leaf, look at this. The end of the leaf is super long. So this probably isn't really long enough. I probably need to go like this with it. There. That's probably better, right? Looks more like it's supposed to. So if you have thistle in your backyard, or if you have access to a book, to a computer, which you obviously do, then please, by all means, print off a couple of pictures that you can go by so that you can get an idea of what you're looking at. There. Then you do the center, pull out the center, get yourself a little light in the center there. And then you'll take your Pico-Pay, there it is. And if there is room, you can like that down the center. Now my itty bitty leaf, I have an itty bitty brush. I don't even know what size this is. It's half the size of my little thumbnail, little fingernail. So it's a teeny tiny little brush. It's a great little brush. It's a little stubby. And I'm going to do that for this leaf here. So you're going to have to change the size of your brushes as you work on this. I like to use the biggest brush I can, and so does Eloise and a couple of other people I know, and we were all trained the same way. But I have to tell you that in this case, you really want to maybe consider the size of brush you're using and change if need be. Alrighty. Now on the final fire with this, or the second fire, we're going to take a pen and go around. Oh, hang on, I wanted to get this here. There. On the second fire, we're going to go around with the pen and really make these little edges go crazy. I'll show you here. See what I did? I really made them go nuts. So just get the leaves on this time. And next time we'll do all the fancy schmancy stuff, okay? Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my veins. And I'm also going to do up in here. Now you wonder why I had the turquoise on here. And please bear with me. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. But the reason I had the turquoise on there is because my feeling about, I've been doing some acrylics paintings, really bright colors. And I find that when you put an unexpected color in with your painting, that people notice it a little more. And it gets a little more play from people on your table or wherever. So here I'm just going through and doing these. They're very straight. Look at these. They're stick straight. Can you see them? They're just, here, let me bring them in. See, they're stick straight. So you can curve them a little bit just to give a little interest to this, but they really are stick straight. So if you're not really good at getting the curves in, don't worry about it. Here's my liner. I'm going to use a liner to put those in. And I'm sure you would too. And I'm going to use my warm brown green because I don't want it to be like overpowering this time. I can always make it darker. You can't make it lighter. Make sure that your vein, I mean your stem lines up with your leaves so that your leaves touch it. So like I said, I add a little bit of an odd color, an unexpected color. And in this case, my unexpected color is going to be turquoise. So my light always comes from my left because that's me. I'm going to put the lighter green over here and here. I'm just putting it kind of straight down in a long C stroke. And I'm going to put it over here on this guy the same way. Okay? Now, hold on to your hats. No. A full load of turquoise and a side load of shading green. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to do it here. I might even just go with the turquoise instead of the darker color because I like the play of the turquoise and the fact that it's kind of cool. Now I know that's not the color that's supposed to be there. And I am going to take a little turquoise and put it on the stems too. Just here and there. Because like I said, I think a little unexpected can't hurt right now. People look at China painting and they go, there's nothing new in China painting. It always looks the same. Add a color, add a yellow. If you don't like this, add a yellow. Add a little unexpected color there. I'm just going to clean this down a little. Oh. Okay. Now the easiest part. We're going to do the tops of these. I'm just going to feather this over a little. And this. And this. There we go. Okay. So I know it looks odd, and who cares? Now I'm going to take my liner. And I'm going to start with berry, because to me, berry is what color the thistles are. And we're going to do these guys first, okay? And I'm going to start at the base and flip up. But I'm also going to do these guys here and this guy here. So, I'm sorry, that light, it was right in your way, wasn't it? That was really rude of me. Okay. So I'm going to start with this guy here, and I'm going to go flip, 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 flip. You have to pull it a little further than you think you do. Flip, 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 flip. You see how I've done that? Okay, that's for the bottom part. If you look on, well, they don't have them on there. Oh, here's my good picture. Here. This is a botanical. See how they have them there? That's what you're going for. Okay. Now you may have to put a little more oil on here than you think you do. And my secret for putting oil on is, let me show you. This works for me. It may not work for you, so we'll see. Here's my oil. Here's my towel. I dip oil with my, this is my liner, and I flip, flip. That's it. Nothing more than that. That way I get just enough oil on there that things move, but not enough that they run. Then I go to my berry, and I'm going to go back this way, and I'm going to do it this way. Can you see what I'm doing? Here we go. Okay? Look at those colors together. I love them. I'm a weirdo. I know it. I'm a weirdo. Okay, and now we're going to start here, and we're going to start building up. Not enough oil. There we go. Now, you see how mine is petering out on the end? Oh, here, I'll turn it this way. It's okay if it does that. I'm going to take a little oil and mix it more in my berry because it's just not flowing the way I want it to. There we go. Okay. Then I'm going to go, I don't have to clean my brush. I'm just going to go right into my cobalt. I guess I'm going to need more oil. And I'm going to start doing my cobalt. I'm sorry. Okay, and you think, so what? Oops, that's why you go out, so you don't get that there. Okay, all right. The secret is my Paintnporcelain. You just go over everything with your Paintnporcelain, wipe it off. And if you don't like that, then you can go back and let's say you think, I need some pink in there. I don't have any pink in front of me right now, but I would maybe do that and put a little pink in there. Or you could put a little more of this in there if you think it needs it. Remember, you've got 2 more coats, 1 or 2 more coats to really make that the way you want it. And then just use your Paintnporcelain to knock it down if you think it's too weird. Okay? This guy up here is not going to be quite as big, but let's finish off the one down here first. So now that I've gotten that far, I'm going to take my Paintnporcelain and I'm just going to put little V's down here. I don't even know if you can see them. Can you see them? I'm doing these little V's and you alternate them. Okay? Next time, those will become this, or this, or this. Okay? So this time we're just making them there so that they're there so that we know that they're there. Alrighty, now we're going to go to this guy. He may be up a little high, so I may have to play with him a little bit, but we'll see. So this guy, okay, same thing. Coming around here. Okay, and then I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to flip him. It's easier to do it upside down, it truly is. Mine's coming out over a weird thing here, so it's making it a little strange, but I have a rim on my glass. Can you see what I'm doing? I want this guy to be a little smaller. Going into my blue. Now I could do purple, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till this fires and see what it looks like. And then I'll decide if I want to add any purple to this or if this is enough purple for me. I want my blue to be in there. There we go. Now don't think you can just make it all solid and that's it and you're done. Like this, and then use your Paintnporcelain. You have to leave a little bit of these. Here, let me get this guy over here. I want this more this way. There we go. You have to get a little bit of this variation with the white and stuff in here. Otherwise, it's just not going to look right. Okay, so now I'm going at it. Here we go. I'm going to take it and I'm going to go up. Stand up. I made the mistake there. Stand up on the very tip of your Pico paint. That'll give you the nice fine lines that don't make it a mess. And if you don't like what you've done and you feel it's too strong, you can always feather it. But make sure you have some paint on when you feather it so you don't leave blotches, because you've worked hard on this. See, if I feather it though, look how much it goes away. And I really like that, so I'm going to go back and put it in. Right up on the tip of this guy. I'm going to do the little V's. On the next coat, I will put some darker green on here and bring it up underneath the thistle and everything, but this coat, I'm not doing that. Let me come way up here so you can see the V's. I want to make it so that you can see it. Okay? And then we have this last little guy over here. I'm just going to start with the V's on him. Let me hold him this way so you can see him a little better. I'm just going to start with the V's on him. And I start right up near the top. And then the next line is, it's like under it, but it's like when you're laying bricks, it's in between. So the first line is, got water on there. Okay. The first line is here. Need oil. First line is here, here, here. Okay, for those V's, I'm drawing them with my Pico paint. And the next line is here, here, here. Okay, that's the way you do it. It's alternating. Let's get back to this. Oops. How did I have that? I had it really good there. There. Okay, and this guy's going to be easy out the top. I want a little bit of the purple. And I think that's about all I want. This is the top-down thistle. I'm just going to show you the thistle part of it because it radiates from the center. It's like a pom-pom. So you're going to go okay, and I'm coming all the way out to the edge. And I'm doing it here. You don't have to be real perfect with this. That's what's really nice about it. So here we are. So this is looking from the top down on this guy. So that's what you do. It's fireworks. Think of it as fireworks. And we're just gonna, baby. This is the Pico Pay, my favorite thing in the whole world. We're just gonna do the fireworks here. Now these, I think I want them more pink. So next time, if I leave enough white on it, I can put a pink over it and it should look pretty cool. Well, I hope that gave you a really good idea of how simple these are to paint. The main thing we're working on this week though was trying to design your own. So yes, I think this guy's a little high, but yeah, oh well, you live and learn, right? And these guys, I think I like them better than I thought I would. Next week, we will do the second fire on this, and we're going to be doing pen work. So make sure you have a pen lined up with a good nib on it. Pick up those brushes, keep painting. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed the program, and I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe so that other people can learn more about China painting and we can get the word out to more people. You also can look at the links below. My Paintnporcelain.com website has a lot of freebies and printables for new and experienced painters, as well as studies, supplies, and even some of my hand-painted china. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time.